All right, so what we decided to do, instead of just walk you through the RV dump, we actually decided to drive to an RV dump and show you how this is done. So the RV dump that we're at today is actually about 8400 South and Highland Drive. This might be the closest one to my house. So as you're picking it up, or I should say when you're dropping it off, this might be the spot that you actually come to dump the RV before you come. I'll bring it back. Now, before I also start, one thing I do want to note is by renting our RV, we expect that you spend some time and that you dump the black water tank and that you clean the black water tank out. The last thing we want is to get an RV back with a black water tank that's full or that's dirty. You can imagine the smell that comes from a black water tank when it's not cleaned out correctly. And so we ask that you really spend some time and clean it out. Obviously, if we have to clean it out, we're going to charge. So you've got the drain outlet, which is where we're going to find our valves. But before we get started, I'm going to come over and get some gloves on. Okay, three things of note here. The big valve is our black water tank. So think big is the black. The gray water tank actually does have a gray handle on it. It's a smaller valve. That's the gray water tank. So we have gray, black. Here's our valve. In addition to this, we also have a Santa flush here. So here's a pressure reducer valve that I put on. But once we get done dumping, we're gonna hook the hose up to this, and this has a little sprinkler system inside of the black tank that's gonna help wash it out. So we'll get to that in a second. So, first thing I'm gonna do is grab the hose. Again, black water tank hose is back here. I'm gonna remove the cap. I'm gonna fasten the hose on, make sure this is good and secure. I've got that locked in. So you put it on and twist to lock that in. This will help you out. Put that valve on, set it in there. But we're stretched out here. First thing I'm going to do is empty the black water tank. In order to empty the black water tank, I'm going to pull the black water. Actually, there's some left in there. So once the black water tank's been pulled, obviously it's going to take a lot longer than that I just did. That just had a little bit of clear water in from flushing the toilet. Let that drain all the way out, then pull my gray water tank. My gray water tank's going to drain. Okay, while that's happening, a lot of these places will already have a hose. If not, I showed you there's a hose in that other cubby that you can use. But I'm going to fasten the hose on to this valve. Again, this is my sprinkler system. It's going to help wash out this tank. So even though I've dumped this tank, there's still toilet paper and debris left in this tank that didn't come all out the first time. So I'm going to close the valve. I'm going to turn on the water. And I should start to hear the water going through there and filling up this tank. Again, can't reiterate, this process takes some time. So plan on at least a half an hour to dump the tank and clean it out properly. So the steps are going to be, now that I've dumped the tank, I'm going to flush it, I'm going to let this run, and hopefully this is going to fill a lot of the tank back up. So I'm going to let this run for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, let it start to fill, and then once I've done that, I'm going to flush it again while the hose is still going. It's going to drain. Hopefully it's going to get out again most of the rest of the debris that's left in there. After I've let that black tank drain a second time, I'm going to close the valve, let it now fill back up again, let it go another 6, 7, 8 minutes, let it really get filled up, and then I'm going to flush it a third time by pulling the valve. After I flushed it 3 times, I should have pretty good confidence that I've gotten all of the debris out, all the toilet paper out, and I'm gonna have a pretty clean tank. So, I flushed it 3 times. I'm gonna turn off the water. Still the valve's open, but I'm gonna disconnect the hose. When I'm pretty sure that everything has been drained out, I can't hear any more water coming through, I've let it really sit. I'm going to close these valves. I'm going to disconnect the hose. I also, before I disconnect this hose, I like to open up this little valve below it. This little plug. As I take that plug out, anything left will just fall out instead of falling into this cubby. So it's going to just drain out there. Now that I have the hose disconnected, I'm going to go back to this hose. I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to spend some time here just rinsing out the hose. I want to make sure this line is clean, it's flushed out. Once I have good confidence that I've got all the toilet paper and debris out of this line, I'm going to close that off, turn the hose off. Disconnect my connector here. Put that back. Replace that plug. Put my cap back on. I'm done in here. Now I'm going to take my hose. I'm going to feed it into the bumper. Make sure that that's plugged in there nice and tight. Remove the gloves, wash my hands, and I'm done. All right, one more thing that I forgot as we were putting things back together is on this side of the bumper, I have actually an extra hose. So if you notice at the beginning, that other hose wasn't quite long enough. Well, if it's not quite long enough, I've got this extra hose in there that you can hook to the end of it to make that line longer. So especially if you're at an RV site and the dump on the RV site is just a little too far for that one hose alone to reach, you can use this hose extender to extend it another 6 to 8 feet. So anyway, make note of that. All right, while we're here at the RV dump, hooking up at the RV site is not going to be much different. But again, what you're going to do is you're going to come to your valves. You're going to go back to your bumper, take out your hoses. And remember, there's 2 different hoses. There's a hose on this side of the bumper and there's a hose on that side of the bumper. This is the one that we use most of the time, but if we need to extend it further, get a longer reach, there's another hose on that end of the bumper. I'm going to remove the valve, hook the hose up, and I'm going to run the hose over to the RV dump hole. Using the connector, the same connector we used for this hole, I'm going to place it in place. Once I've got the hose in place, I can open up the black tank drain and the gray tank drain, and I can leave them open. So now, as you are camping and as you're using the RV, those valves are going to be open. Everything you do inside is just going to drain out into the RV hole. In addition, you're going to have to hook up water. So if this is clean water, as if it was at the RV site, I'll just take the hose over to the city water connection. I'd screw the hose in here, turn the valve on, keep the valve on, and now I've got water to the unit. I don't have to turn on the pump. Everything's pressurized. When I'm done, I can just disconnect and go.